Welcome to SVG-TV News for Thursday, December 18th, 2014. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. Prime Minister Dr. Gonsalves this morning laid before Parliament the 2015 revenue and expenditure budget estimates totaling $971.3 million. During his presentation, Dr. Gonsalves announced that 56 new positions have been provided for in the estimates. He added that 36 positions will be in the Ministry of National Security, 6 in the Ministry of National Mobilization, 4 in the Ministry of Finance, and 4 in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, 2 in the Ministry of Transport and Works, 1 in the Prime Minister's Office, and 1 in the Ministry of Housing.
Foreign Affairs, 2 Foreign Service officers, 1, and the IT repair services at the ITSD have been strengthened by the addition of 2 technicians. Other new posts in the estimates for 2015 are 1 audit officer, 1 case manager at the family court, 1 assistant secretary in the office of the Prime Minister, in the Ministry of Transport, 2 school bus drivers, and in the Ministry of Housing, 1 assistant secretary. The recurrent estimates for 2015, inclusive of amortization and sinking fund contributions, is $657.017 million.
Dr. Gonsalves noted that the capital expenditure is concentrated in 3 ministries, namely the Ministry of Transport and Works, Ministry of National Security, and the Ministry of Finance.
Ministry of Transport and Works has been allocated 29.6% or $87.7 million of the capital budget. 2, the Ministry of National Security, which includes airport development. This ministry has been provided with $81.8 million or 27.6% of the 2015 capital budget. It is to be noted that $74.7 million of that $81.8 million of this ministry's capital program relates to the Argyle International Airport, which is in its final months of construction. And the third significant ministry for capital expenditure is the Ministry of Finance and Planning, where we have allocated $30.8 million or 10.4% of the capital budget.
In his response to the estimates, Opposition Leader Arnhim Eustace says that the presentation is $29 million short of $1 billion. According to the Opposition Leader, the presentation needs to be more real and achievable. Eustace also expressed concern that wages and salaries have not changed much, adding that the country is approaching a 4th year of wage freeze.
We can't afford a higher salary, given what our revenue base was at the time. And I said, you have to watch Dominica. They have given several salary increases. And the very next year, Dominica was in the hands of the International Monetary Fund, reducing the size of the public service. So sometimes we make these statements without thought, without forethought. But the reality is today, given the circumstances which we face, the government has had to announce and put in place for a 4th year wage freeze.
Eustace also questions if all sums taken from the National Insurance Services by the government are going into the investment fund.
I want to know whether those things are in place, because all of us know that the NIS is a critical institution in the lives of the people of this country and should not be tampered with in the manner in which it's done in 2013 and 2014, where you actually deducted money from people's salaries and did not pay it over to the NIS at the same time that you increased contribution rates and the retirement age. So what are people to do? And I think it must be made clear to the public what has actually happened in relation to that. It's not fair.
Meanwhile, opposition MP for the Northern Grenadines, Dr. Godwin Friday, says though many of the targets set out in the estimates sound good on paper, if there is a follow-up, many of them are not being met. According to Dr. Friday, while he understands there are estimates and not definitive statements of what should be done, there shouldn't be wild guesses of what are being projected for the future.
I'll take just one simple example. In the 2014 estimates, there was no projection made for the Argyle International Airport. No projection for 2014, for 2015. And we see that the construction is continuing and funds are put in the 2014 estimates. Again, there are no projections for 2016 in the 2015 estimates. Check it out. Don't just make up a face. Look on the airport seaports and so on, and you'll see. So the notion is that the airport will be concluded, so therefore there's no point in putting any estimates there. But of course, when we come to do the estimates for the year coming up, the funds are added. So, Mr. Speaker, the project appears to be one that is driven by political expedience and not just simply by the requirement to be strictly accountable in these documents to this Parliament and to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
The opposition MP further states that while the government seeks to make payments for expenditures undertaken during the year, other areas are starving for funds, even though they are considered important to the economic growth and development of the country.
As in tourism, for example, the ministry that I shadow, thank you. You had a situation where in 2013, we have an allocation of $13 million. That's in the revised estimates. Yet, when we look at what was actually spent, if you look at page 565 and 572 of the 2015 estimates, you will see a recorded figure there for the actual expenditure by the ministry, by the Tourism Authority of $3.8 million. Remember, $13 million in the revised estimates was voted to the Tourism Authority. And we understand what the Tourism Authority is. It's the main institution that is tasked with promoting tourism and developing tourism abroad. Yet, Mr. Speaker, they reported the actual expenditure for that authority in 2013 is $3.8 million. That is what is reported here in the 2015 estimates. Having been allocated $13 million. We see that the amount allocated now is $12 million, but who knows how much will actually be spent. Because you see the transfer, Mr. Speaker, it's easy to cut back on that and pay the light bill and pay for other expenditures that people are sending a bill to you for, rather than for you to initiate some new activity to generate growth and development in the tourism sector. But that is a short-term and short-sighted approach, Mr. Speaker, because what happens in the long run is that a productive sector such as tourism suffers because you don't have the investment necessary to generate growth and expansion in that industry. And you hear it from the stakeholders in that industry all the time. You talk to them and they say, what are we doing? We're not promoting tourism. And you compare to what is happening in Grenada and in St. Lucia and elsewhere, and they say that in St. Vincent we ain't ready yet.
Supporters of the ruling Unity Labour Party who will be attending the funeral of the late Edgar Cruikshank this Saturday are being urged to refrain from wearing party colours. This appeal comes from Prime Minister Dr. Gonsalves as he expressed condolence to Cruikshank's family in Parliament on Wednesday. Dr. Gonsalves noted that he would like the funeral to be attended in a respectful manner.
To make sure that he is laid to rest in dignity, and I'm asking our supporters to avoid party colours as we did on those occasions. Let us have his funeral run in the manner in which, in our own Caribbean civilization and this Vincentian component, we have these funerals with dignity and consistence with the highest principles and values of our civilization rested on Christian beliefs.
In other news, Vincentians are being encouraged to continue to be vigilant and to help with the ongoing fight against the chikungunya virus. A release from the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment states that while there has been a decrease in the number of reported cases since the outbreak in April of this year, the virus remains prevalent in SVG and also throughout the region. According to the ministry, the fight against chikungunya is also a fight against dengue and dengue hemorrhagic fever. Hence, it is necessary for everyone to protect him or herself from mosquito bites and to avoid harboring conditions which cause mosquitoes to breed. To date, the ministry says there have been 173 laboratory-confirmed cases and 1,220 epidemiology-linked cases reported. It also notes that there have been reports of 2 possible deaths as a consequence of chikungunya, though they have not been confirmed by laboratory tests. The release states that both occurred in elderly patients who died at home and that the ministry is currently investigating these cases to ascertain the cause of death. With just a few more days before Christmas, business places in capital Kingstown are abuzz with activity as buyers look for discounts and great deals. SVG-TV took to the streets to find out what shoppers are buying and how business is going for the season.
And things has been going good thus far. Right now, our sales are building up. We have a 30% since November. And things are going all right. We have a lot of customers who are coming in and they enjoy shopping here at Chinatown because they always say Chinatown is everybody's store and the poor man's store.
25 to 50% discount, so that's unbelievable sale right now here at Jack's. I guess everybody's rushing here. People buying the curtains, we have snacks and mats and rugs and everything, so it's really super.
We have tablets going, people are looking for the microwave, their fridges, anything that you know are pertaining to Christmas activities and purchasing items to stock the home. We have it at Courts. We also open up until 6 o'clock p.m. We open as well as early as 7 during the 9 morning season to accommodate our customers to come in, do some early shopping.
They're going good. Everything's looking bright and happy and spriteful, and customers are joyful and they're bouncing all over the place looking for all the great bargains and deals in store.
So what are some of the things that persons are grabbling up right now?
The turkey. They are running out of the door with their butterball turkeys, so get them now before they're gone.
Well, the usual, the strong rums, the Bay, the Sparrow, the SLRs, and the Hennessy for everybody else. And we're open for business and we're willing for people to come out and spend their Christmas here at Thomas.
We have the children toys. We have our wishing well that children can come and make a wish. Once they spend $30 or more, they can come and make a wish for a toy. We have our gift sets.
SVG-TV News also caught up with Commissioner of Police Michael Charles, who was doing some shopping of his own. Commissioner Charles used the opportunity to advise bargain hunters to be cognizant of the predators who may want to scam them.
So like everybody else, you know, the commissioner had to check for the best, right? And not necessarily the cheapest, but you know, you have to stretch the money where it goes. And while at that, I'd just like to urge Vincent around this time to be very careful. I know some officers were on the radio and television giving out advice and so on. Female especially, secure your purses. Male, avoid putting money in your wallet in the back pocket, because going through crowd, you know, people just bump on you and you may think it's an innocent bump. When you check for your wallet, it's gone. Cell phones, now time that people will snatch cell phones and so on, and most of jewelry, you have to be very, very careful. So I urge all Vincent to be very careful this Christmas.
And Member of Parliament for South Windward, Frederick Stephenson, is reminding Vincentians to keep the memory alive of those who lost their lives in the December 2013 Christmas Eve floods. Speaking at the launch of the Stubbs Night Morning's Lighten Up activities, Minister Stephenson said that those who lost loved ones are still hurting, while others who lost valuables are still trying to get back on their feet. He called on Vincentians to be true towers of love and light during this time.
Let us remember those who lost their lives and whose homes were destroyed last year. And if we can, we give a little something to persons who are less fortunate than ourselves. As we think about Christmas and we look at the lights, let us remind ourselves of the purpose of Christmas, that our Lord and Savior and soon coming King came into the world to be the light of the world. And all of us are called to be little lights shining in every nook and cranny of this country.